Returning to that breaking news, Liam Payne from One Direction has died after a fall from his hotel balcony in Argentina. He was just 31 years old.
It's understood several witnesses at the hotel where he was staying in Buenos Aires say he fell from his room on the third floor of that hotel. At this stage, it's not known if it was intentional or it was accidental. Let's bring in our entertainment editor, Lawrence Cooper. Take us through what we know so far.
So what we know so far is that he was in Buenos Aires to see Niall Horan, who was performing, his good friend. And it's not clear whether he was going to be the surprise guest on stage or whether there was going to be just a reunion where they got together afterwards. But Liam's music was doing very well, 3.9 billion streams. So he was very successful, although what we are hearing is that right before the fall, whatever had happened, he was acting erratically. He had smashed his laptop and he was distraught and upset. So we can only speculate that it had something to do with his recent ex-girlfriend, who just 2 days ago had started a lawsuit against him, a cease and desist, claiming that he was weaponizing his fans against her. So there was some domestic situation that was obviously quite upsetting to him. But we don't know if that has anything to do with his behavior or if it was just a coincidence that that was happening just a couple of days before his death.
Enormous fan base with One Direction, of course, but then when they split up, took on a solo career, his fans would anticipate releases from him. He was well loved, wasn't he?
Very well loved. Fans are... I've never seen fans like this for anybody, the heartbreak and some of the things they're posting and photos of them with him. And it's just this very young generation experiencing this level of pain. They knew him so well. He really let his fans know him. And I think that's the difference between current stars and stars of yesterday when we didn't know that much about them, but his fans really felt like a kinship with him. So they didn't just lose somebody they loved who was a star, they lost a friend.
Yeah, so his story is known throughout the world, isn't it? He auditioned for X Factor, I think as a 14-year-old, didn't make the cut, then came back, and then they were famously put together as this group, One Direction.
Right, and that was when he was 16 years old, a very pivotal age. And he was one of the few stars that you don't hear terrible stories. He didn't do crazy stuff. He really embraced his fans and embraced his career. And then once One Direction split up, he had his own solo career that was equally as successful. So he was somebody that we know we were going to see so much more from, which is why this is so incredibly heartbreaking.
You said that it was in Argentina. Niall Horan is performing there. Were they still close? The band, One Direction?
Very close. Harry Styles has talked about this pretty extensively, that they really were brothers. They kind of came up together. The fact that they were such young teens experiencing this for the first time. They didn't come from famous families where they knew how to handle fame. They all negotiated all of these things together, and they just grew together. So it gave them a very special bond that is kind of hard to understand if you're somebody that has not been through it, because they weren't just, they weren't just successful. They were worldwide stars, and they really clung to each other for help. So I'm sure that the rest of the band is devastated, and we'll be hearing statements from them soon.
So let's just get a recap, if we can, Cooper. Liam Payne has died at the age of 31. What details do we know so far about how this has happened?
What we know so far is that he was in Buenos Aires at a hotel, and he either fell or jumped off a balcony. It's not clear how he ended up off the balcony, but we do know that he was acting erratically, according to witnesses, prior to this incident. And whether that has to do with something going on in his life that we don't know about, or his ex-girlfriend, who has just filed a cease and desist and started a lawsuit against him just 2 days ago. We don't know if those are connected.
What we do know, he had a relationship with Cheryl Cole, a UK artist as well. They had a son together, Bear, in 2017. The family must be devastated.
Absolutely devastated. Losing a father, losing a friend, losing a former lover at such a young age. 31 is just too young, and it's just too heartbreaking. So we're waiting to hear more details. This is fresh news and fresh information, and we don't want to speculate.
Yeah, exactly. Very early hours since this has happened. Cooper Lawrence, thank you very much for the update. We'll have more on Liam Payne shortly.